Hi and good morning. We are in lesson 9 and we are going to cover pages between 238 to 242. So the topic today is sulfur and sulfuric acid. These type of compounds can be taken from the chemical industry, especially those focusing on petrochemical industry, and producing fuels, gasoline, oil, or chemical solvents. So another resource is under earth. But there should be something happen which help them to reach the earth surface. One, these can be volcanoes. Volcanoes help to the sulfur under the earth to come to the earth surface. Another one can be considered by human to pumping and mine the chemical under the earth to reach to the earth's surface. They use a big pipe and using a very high pressure, using compressed air to get the or to mine the sulfur from the earth's surface, which is called fresh process. I will show you the next slide. And another one is contact process. In this process there will be a reaction, a chemical reaction, but the reaction is reversible. Reversible means when you get the product is not very stable. It is possible to back to the reactants to break down. That means the product may be broken to the reactants and then produce the reactants. This is because of the stability of the products. So in this process, we need a high temperature of 450 Celsius and pressure of 1 to 2 atmosphere. And also uh, a catalyst is required to be used, such as vanadium oxide, and then products will be about 90% pure. So 98% sulfur trioxide can be taken. So okay, another part is the yeah through this process the sulfur trioxide, which produce must be kept in the sulfuric acid, not in water. So because it will produce a very toxic chemical, that's why this process should be occurred using sulfuric acid, not water. All right. And here you can see the fresh process that I explained in the previous slide. So a hot water to should be used and pressed to the earth in order to melt the sulfur, because the sulfur is the solid structure. We cannot get it easily. It must be molten. Then also another pipe in the center of the big pipe is used for um, air, a very high pressure of air to help to press the molten sulfur to the reach to the earth's surface. So on the surface we can get molten sulfur and also air, the air um, released out. And some applications, some usage of sulfuric acid is fertilizer industry, like nitrogen, that we learned in the previous session. And also it can be used for manufacture of paper, And food industry because it's very useful to kill bacteria. Concentrated sulfuric acid is shows different behavior compared to the not concentrated sulfuric acid. So concentrated sulfuric acid is a powerful for dehydrating agent, and it's powerful for oxidizing agent and very corrosive. So here also you can have a general picture of usage of sulfuric acid for different applications. Another part we are going to focus on color alkali industry. So one of the big resource of color is sodium chloride, which is salt. We use as a salt. Salt is very high available in environments, but for the process of using or actually separating color is sodium chloride solution. That means if we make the salt in a form of solution like in water, which is called brine, it's called brine also. Brine is a salt in the water, mixed salt in the water. But the method which is considered is electrolysis. We learned a lot about electrolysis in the previous chapters. So but there are three different types of electrolysis for separating color from the brine. The first is mercury cathode cell, and the second is diaphragm cell, and the third is membrane cell. That membrane cell is the most modern system using nowadays. And from the electrolysis of the brine here I explained, we can get chlorine, which is the target to get the chlorine, and the other side we can get sodium hydroxide solution and hydrogen. Each has own application and usage. So we don't have any waste compounds, waste chemical from this process. So chlorine is can be produced at anode sections, which is positive electrodes. Positive electrode, which is called anode, is a good place to absorb chlorine because chlorine cation is a positive. Sorry, an ion is a negative and can be observed on the positive electrode, which is anode. And the other side, in another electrode, which is negative and it's called cathode, we learned a lot in the previous chapters, can be a good place for absorbing hydrogen, which is hydrogen is positive, it's a cation, and sodium ions from the sodium chloride salt, and hydroxide ions from the water because we have water and salt. So hydroxide ion from water can be left behind the sodium hydroxide. And we need to separate the chlorine because chlorine is useful for treating water treatments. And for example, to cleaning your, if you are staying in the place that there is a swimming pool, you can see the swimming pool should be cleaned weekly or 2 times a week. So the person should use chlorine. They add chlorine to the water because the chlorine um, is very good for water treatment. And another usage of the chlorine is making plastic PVC. Plastic PVC is a type of a pipe, plastic pipe, I think you ever seen that plastic pipe using for um, using in house or factory. So they are very useful. They just for further information, you should know that plastic plastic pipe is not corrosive. As we learned in the previous session, if we use the iron or a metal pipe, so after a while they react with the air or water, so it can be cried. But using PVC, plastic PVC pipe uh, has these advantages. Um, Not only chlorine. In general, halogens are very useful, such as fluorine or bromine and iodine. They are very useful, and you can see the applications, the usage of these halogens, which are located in group 7 of periodic table of elements. So they are very useful, and you can see the usage of and you should memorize, actually you should memorize the usage of halogens. That's all for today. Thank you so much. Stay safe at all.